Amazon's Lord of the Rings of Power was a complete and total nightmare in Season 1. This is something that needed to be, by Amazon's own admission, a global phenomenon to be successful. The most expensive TV series in history, and it got bashed by the fans, and it did not do a ton in the ratings. And in fact, now we're learning that the vast majority of people that started this series couldn't make it to the end. Lord of the Rings of Power viewers didn't even finish the show. 37%. That's the number of people here in the United States that actually made it to the end of this disaster. But this nightmare doesn't end with Season 1 for Amazon, because now they got to do it Season 2. They had to rebuild a bunch of sets in a different location. They've got horses dying on set. They got fires breaking out. And now Amazon has been hit with a massive lawsuit. Jeff Bezos and J.R.R. Tolkien's estate hit with $250 million lawsuit over Amazon's Lord of the Rings series. And what's being alleged in this lawsuit is that the story for Rings of Power was actually stolen, that somebody else wrote that and Amazon came in and ripped it off. Now, personally, I don't know why you'd brag about Rings of Power being your original story when the vast majority of people seem to think it was dog shit. But there's one man out there who's willing to go the distance, who's willing to file this massive lawsuit with Amazon over the fan fiction that he wrote. The author of The Fellowship of the King wants $250 million because he says Amazon and the Tolkien estate stole his idea for Rings of Power. An author suing Amazon and the Tolkien estate for what he claims is copyright infringement in The Rings of Power, last year's TV show based on the appendices of Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. How could a show based on Tolkien's work under license from the Tolkien estate violate the IP rights of some guy from LA named Demetrius Polychron? The perplexing answer is that Polychron published on Amazon, ironically, a work of Lord of the Rings fan fiction called The Fellowship of the Ring. And in fact, it's right here. Now, it doesn't have the best ratings, only 2 stars, 10 ratings. I believe one of the 5-star ratings on here is the author himself. But yes, he published himself, apparently, and on Amazon, fan fiction for Lord of the Rings. You think that probably the Tolkien estate would be well within their rights to get this taken down from here, but as of right now, that's not the case, and now he is suing them. This whole thing to me seems laughable. I don't think it's going to be able to go the distance, but it's just so funny. The amount of headaches, the amount of nightmares, the amount of catastrophes that continue to come out of Amazon's Lord of the Rings of Power, but this is what you get when you betray Tolkien fans, when you betray J.R.R. Tolkien himself, and you tell the fan base, this is what we're going to do. If you don't like it, we don't want you watching. We're going to call you a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, whatever we can to try to smear you, but we don't need you. Well, apparently they do need Tolkien fandom, and Tolkien fandom does not want them. Polychron set the stage for this lawsuit over several years. First, he registered the book with the Copyright Office in 2017, which establishes when it was completed and gives him legal basis to sue. I don't know if he can have a copyright over a fan fiction like that. The lawyers are going to have to work that shit out. He then sent a letter to Tolkien's grandson, Simon Tolkien, describing the book and requesting a review of his manuscript. He got no response. Then, according to the lawsuit, Polychron hired an attorney to contact the Tolkien estate. The Tolkien estate's attorney rebuffed any attempt at collaboration the very next day. So Polychron says he personally delivered a copy of the manuscript to Simon Tolkien at his home and notes that he'd included the copyright symbol on the manuscript. I don't know if that's enough, but again, I guess the lawyers will have to figure it out. Polychron got no response to the dropped-off manuscript, if you can imagine, so he wrote a letter asking for it back, informing Simon Tolkien he would publish The Fellowship of the King and an additional 6-book series independently. That's exactly what he did, but he claims that Rings of Power rips it off in a variety of ways, including names of characters, things like that. I don't think this has a leg to stand on, but it does look like it might be a bit of a headache for Amazon, to be quite honest with you. But you know what? They deserve it. They deserve every bit of it. Now, I don't want any horses to die on set, but they deserve all the problems they can possibly have. because this is a bastardization of one of the greatest stories and one of the most beloved stories in history. Season 1 was a travesty, and it was a nightmare in terms of the audience reaction to it. Season 2, maybe they'll try to make some changes, but it's too late. For a lot of fans, that ship has sailed. The 37% of people who actually finished it, maybe they'll give it a watch. But as far as everybody else, in all likelihood, they are done with Lord of the Rings of Power. Another nightmare for Amazon. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.